Now, I always say there's only two ways to cook squid. You can either flash fry it on a hot barbecue or a grill, or you can slow cook it and it completely transforms and becomes very, very soft. So I'm going to show you how to make my delicious red curry using the squid, and this is from my book Simple Everyday. I've been preheating a little pan here so it's nice and warm, and I'm adding a few whole spices, some star anise, a little bit of cinnamon and some white pepper. And I want to toast this so it starts to become quite fragrant. This is then going to be crushed in my food processor. While that's toasting away, we can start adding our ingredients into the food processor. A nice big piece of ginger that I'll just cut into 3 pieces, and then I've just attached the blade into the food processor so it's going to mince everything and make it into a paste. Some lemongrass, and this is 1 stalk of lemongrass, and what we want to do is get as much flavour out of the base as possible. So using the back of a knife, just bruise it. I'll take this woody part off and then the bottom bit, and then again we'll just cut it into rough pieces and we'll place it straight into our food processor. And now I'll add a few cloves of garlic, and I can smell these spices. They smell amazing. We'll turn the heat off, place them into a mortar and pestle now, and then we'll just grind it until it becomes a powder. Okay, so once it becomes a powder just like this, it's ready to go. So we'll bring that over here to our food processor so everything can go in together. Now I'll add a little bit of lime zest, some coriander, and I want to use the stalks and the root because that's where so much flavour is. We'll use the leaves for later, again for a garnish. And we'll pop that in with 1 small red onion, cut into 8 pieces. And then we need some heat for this, so 2 chilies. I'm using some long red chilies. If you want this to be extra hot, you could add a small chili, which has a little bit more heat to it. And now some shrimp paste. We'll scoop a little bit in there. And now for the spices. I have some extra spices here: coriander, cumin, and some smoked paprika. They'll go in first, along with our freshly ground spices of the white pepper, cinnamon, and the star anise. And now before I start to add the oil to this, just to bind it all together and so it can form a paste, I'll place the lid on and we'll blend this until it's really finely chopped, and then I'll slowly start adding the oil. Okay, our red curry paste is ready. Now we need to fry this off with some onions and a pinch of salt. And then give this a good stir and soften it for about 1 minute. Once it starts to soften, we can add our curry paste. Okay, I'm just grating in a little bit of palm sugar for some sweetness with this dish. And now, just like any other Thai cooking, we need to balance it out with some saltiness. So I'm going to deglaze this pan with some fish sauce. Now, it doesn't have a fishy taste at all once it's been cooked in with the curry paste. So I'm going to add a few tablespoons of the fish sauce and then give that a really good stir. Now we need to add some coconut milk, so around 800 millilitres of coconut milk that I'll measure out. And then we'll pour that in. And this needs to come to the boil before we add the rest of the ingredients. Give it a stir and you'll see that that curry paste will start to stain that white coconut milk and then start to transform it into the most delicious gravy for our squid. So while that's bubbling away, let's get on to the sweet potato. 1 whole sweet potato I'll cut in half and then into half moon shapes. You want this to cook in the same amount of time as the squid, so don't make it too small. I also want it to hold its shape, so cutting it into chunks like this is perfect. This is bubbling away now, so it's time to add the squid. You need around 600 grams of squid. I love the tentacles. In fact, that's my favourite part of the squid. But with the body, what I've done is cleaned it, scored it, and then cut it into small chunks so they can go in And then essentially this squid is going to poach in this delicious sauce. So I like to give this about 1 minute head start. Then I'll add our sweet potato, pop the lid on, and you want to cook this for about 15 minutes to 20 minutes or until the squid is really tender. Now this has been cooking for 20 minutes. The calamari is soft and also this sweet potato is really tender. Look how thick the sauce is. It is just perfect. I like to serve this with some steamed rice, but before I do that, it's always a good idea to have a taste of the sauce and see if it needs a little bit more acid or a little bit more salt. Ooh, it's pretty good. Now we can plate up. So some hot steamy rice, lots of those tentacles, that's my favourite part, and generous amount of that on our rice. And then just to finish it off, I like a nice little wedge of lime in case you want a little bit more acidity. Some fresh coriander sprigs go on the side. And then I like texture when it comes to my curry, so a little bit of those bean sprouts and some peanuts, and then a little bit of some fried shallots. You don't need to put all of these garnishes on if you don't want, but I think it really makes it into a special curry. Yes, you can cut a corner here and not make your own red curry paste. You can buy a nice, good quality store-bought one. But if you do want to make your own curry paste, why don't you double my recipe and then you can store it in the fridge for next time.